Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Self Made, The Makings of Me. I'm your host, Cleveland Bafford, and I just want to thank you for those who have joined me again, that find my content of some use of some substance uh, that matters, not only to them, but in general in life, to all human beings. Uh, I concluded at the last episode, the first 10 years, as I was saying, my intent to break my life down in 10-year blocks, 10-year increments, and give me more of an opportunity to just focus on a short span, but not necessarily a short span, but a certain era where I can really focus and my mind won't wander in all which way, as the old folks say. But I kind of left off the last time pretty much as 1968 when my uncle got murdered and I was molested by my neighbor, and leading into 1969, which was my 10th year. I didn't really go into that 10th year. And I'd like to kind of like touch a little bit on that 10th year so I can stay true to my structure of 10-year increments, and I'll make a transition into the next decade. And I just hope that it goes as smoothly as I planned. But, this is all the way live and, it's uncut. So I'm only giving it to you, in the raw, in the real. So I'm going to start with year 10, which would be most appropriate in this situation. And in my 10th year, at age 10, my grandmother thought it was a good idea to send me out to the country with her sister, Aunt Carrie. And because I was kind of acting up and being mischievous and she thought maybe a change would do me some good, They didn't really know how to deal with me because of, the previous traumas that I had been through and how it was impacting me, and I'm quite sure as adults they was witnessing this developing these are developing events that I was demonstrating, at home. And I guess they might have found it disturbing, so they thought they maybe need a break. We'll send them out to the country. And so they sent me out to Collierville, Tennessee, so to stay with my Aunt Carrie. That was my 5th grade year. And I found the country to be kind of interesting, really. It was quite different, but I don't know why I didn't find it as a shock, because it was like a throwback going into like, the old days, the horse and buggy days or something, We had, I was introduced to the pigs and how to feed them the slops and, it was just unique. It was just, that's all I can say about it. It had its own, I guess maybe it was being out in nature that I kind of fell in love with. Being away from all the hustle bustle of the city and just being in nature. I remember my getting signed up for school. This was real interesting situation because my classroom was like divided into two classes. The fifth grade was on one side, the sixth grade was on the other side. And I kind of thought it was interesting, from a child's eye point of view. It was different, very different from where I came from. And I remember the bus driver, the Walkers, Mr. Walker. He was the sheriff. He was the local store owner. And he was the school bus driver. So he was a pretty big, person in the community. And his kids went to the same school we went to. And and right away, I was made to realize that I was an outsider and that I really wasn't accepted. Because one day his daughter walked up to me and fired on me. What the? And quite naturally, my instinct was like, a girl I can't live that down. I can't live that down. So, I had to put the beat down. It wasn't real bad, but, I still had to get my edge, the advantage, so to speak, to let them know that I'm here. You just can't punk me because I'm new, and because your daddy is everything, you think you can just do anything and get away with it. But you pushed up on the wrong guy, the wrong kid that day. And of course, being of the daughter of who she is or was, the principal came in there and wanted me to bend over and whip me with the paddle. And I was like, no, she fired on me. No, she started it. I ain't taking no whooping today. And so he literally picked me up in one arm and paddled me with the other one. So I made sure that he was representing the Walkers, you understand? You don't mess with the Walkers, was right or wrong. And that's the statement that he was giving me, outsider, So when we had lunch break, I went and found my cousin, my big cousin, baby bro, who I was living with when I ain't Carrie's son. He was like a senior or something, in the school. So when I found him, I told him what happened. He went in, man, and found that principal, man. He chastised that principal. Don't you ever put your hand on my cousin again. When that girl was in the wrong, because he had already, confirmed that she started and all that other stuff. So he was, he was standing on righteousness when he went up in there. And the principal didn't say nothing. He was froze. He was like, wow, I never seen this version of, Mr. Webster, you know what I'm saying? Mr. McLemore, rather. And so everything kind of smoothed out after that. And that's when I kind of calmed down and everything kind of got mellowed out, and I was kind of, didn't nobody bother me after that. They seen what happened, so the whole school knew what was going on because it was like a little country town, so everybody knows it was like Peyton Place, to be truthful. And so that's where I met my friend, Mr. James Phillip. He kind of embraced me, man, And old Big James Phillips, he went on to play football for the Chicago Bears. He really made something of his life, and I'm proud to say that I know him, that But what I'm more proud about is that he taught me how to play horseshoes. See, y'all don't know about pitching a real horseshoe off a horse's hoof kind of shoe. You know, that's what he taught me on in the country. We pitch real horseshoes off the hoof, not that city prefabricated manufactured horseshoe. No, we pitched the real deal. So, I thought that was so cool, man. I'm pitching horseshoes, the real hoot shoes from the hoods, because they got some big Clydesdale shoes too, and Smake, so they come in all sizes. So I'm just letting you know. And so I developed that turn, boy. Most people pitch the flips. I had to turn. That turn is pretty though. That turn is pretty, boy. When it's going, ain't nothing like it, boy. It's a sight to see when that turn is going, boy. Click up, whoop. But anyway, moving right along, my 10th year, 5th grade year. Like I said, even though my auntie, who I was living with, had running water and, indoor plumbing and stuff like that, but my great grandmother lived down the street. They still had the outhouse and, and the outside water pump, and the chickens in the backyard, you know what I'm saying? And I just recall going up there most of the time, because we loved our great grandmama, Big Mama. So, I hung out there a lot, because more so because on some weekends she'll have my cousin Lazarus to go hunt some rabbit for breakfast. Y'all don't hear me. Go have my cousin to go hunt some live rabbit for breakfast. And he never disappointed. I don't know if he knew, he just smelled them. I don't know how he went and got them rabbits for his big mama. He'd do whatever, he'd move the world for her. She said, go get it, he go to get it. And so she smothered those rabbits and biscuits and gravy, boy. Oh, country style, country living, country eating. But the main thing I liked about my great grandmama was her blueberry pies. I'm telling y'all something good here now, before I get into some of the more deeper stuff, which will be shortly. But the most fascinating thing about my grandmother's baking of the blueberry pies was the event leading up to her beginning to make the pie. She always told us kids, if you want me to make y'all some blueberry pies, then I suggest y'all go in that kitchen and get you some pots and go find me some blueberries. Y'all don't even hear me. We never disappointed. I mean, I learned how to go in. I learned where they was at. But I also learned where the blackest ones. You had to go up in some real dark thickets to get the real black, juicy blueberries or blackberries, whichever one they were. I believe it was blueberries. It could have been blackberries, but in any event, the more juiciest one and darkest one was in the dark thickets. And you had to go crawl up in there. It could have been snakes or whatever in there. You had to go up in there and get them. And I was brave. I didn't care about it. I wish a snake would jump out at me. He just beat a goner. Because wasn't nothing going to stop me from getting me some blueberries and blackberries from my great grandmama to make that pie. Nothing. I wasn't afraid. The snake must have sensed that about me, coming up in them thickets. They said,